The Passionate Leader, because leadership without passion is just a title.
Meeting. We got a collapse in the garage. Get the squad back equipment in here. We got an I-beam gone to a firefighter.
Get that island urgent. Transmit a second along.
This is where titles end and leadership begins. Ask yourself, how much of your identity is tied to the bugles on your collar? In the fire service, we're taught to chase the next cert, the next promotion, the next seat at the table. We celebrate climbing the ladder, but we rarely stop to ask what happens when the ladder starts leaning against the wrong wall. What if the strongest leadership decision you'll ever make isn't accepting a promotion? What if it's walking away from one? Today's guest knows exactly what that feels like. Jason Minershagen has spent more than 3 decades in the fire service. Over those years, he served as a firefighter, engineer, acting captain, deputy of community relations, best-selling author, coach, and mentor, but his greatest lessons didn't come from earning any rank. They came from losing faith in the system he had dedicated his life to. After reaching out for help during one of the darkest chapters of his career, Jason says the brotherhood he trusted failed him. Faced with toxic leadership and a choice between protecting a title or protecting his family, he made the decision few firefighters ever would. He voluntarily stepped away from the deputy chief's office and returned to the line as an engineer. Not because he lacked ambition, but because he discovered that leadership isn't something you wear on your collar, it's something you carry inside yourself. Today, through Five Arrows Forge, Jason is helping first responders move beyond simply talking about mental health and into building resilience through practical tools rooted in neuroscience, coaching, and lived experience. He's also the founder of A Note from Dad, a movement dedicated to helping fathers leave a lasting legacy for their children. So before we dive into today's conversation with Jason, ask yourself this. If everything your business card says about you disappeared tomorrow, who would you still be? Because if your identity disappears with your title, you were never leading from who you are. You were leading from what you wore. Jason, welcome to The Passionate Leader. We are glad you're here. Before we really set you free, I do need to pay the bills, and we'll get to our sponsor for the day. Today's episode is brought to us by the First Due Project and the Fire and Foliage Symposium, happening October 16th and 17th in Nashua, New Hampshire. Born out of the belief that too many conferences have become about attendance numbers, social media posts, and packed schedules, at Fire and Foliage, you're not a number. You're a firefighter, an officer, a mentor, or somebody simply trying to become better than you were yesterday. With the First Due Project, we believe every firefighter deserves the opportunity to grow, regardless of rank, title, or budget. That's why we're committed to affordable education, meaningful conversations, and creating an experience where people actually connect instead of just passing through. If that sounds like the kind of environment you're looking for, visit us at firstdueproject.org for tickets, and we'll see you in October. All right, let's get to it, man. That's long-winded. I appreciate it. Welcome to the show, Jason Meinershagen.
Hey, man, I'm blessed. I'm honored to be here. This is good stuff, man. What you're doing is great stuff, and I'm honored to be counted among the few that have been on your show.
Dude, it's something so fun. This started out as a outlet for me to kind of break the stigma of working underneath America's, worst fire chief or best fire, America's fire chief show, so to speak. So, so for those that, do not know or have not come across your pages and stuff, why don't you, kind of give us, who you are, where you got into the fire service and where you currently are at now?
Yeah. So I got into the fire service in probably 1995 as a volunteer. I was drawn to the fire. So long story short, we'll go all the way back to birth. My name means healer or to heal. My mom named me that because at the time I'm number 2 of 4 boys for my parents, and at the time their marriage was pretty strange. So born in 1973, they had a pretty stressful, pretty strained marriage at the time, and it was her hope. I didn't know this until adulthood, but it was her hope that I would be the one to heal their marriage. And so she named me Jason. So fast forward, as an adult now, unpacking all of my trauma, I can look back into childhood and see that unspoken pressure I can
Okay.
see conversations. I can feel that pressure to be the one that has to solve the problems, to be the problem solver, the people pleaser. And so I've always been drawn towards just helping people and serving. So then fast forward into, I think it was, I don't remember what year. Kansas City 6 died. It would have been in the I think 88. I want to say it was the late 80s. I want to 1988. 6 Kansas City firefighters died in a explosion at a construction site. I was living down in Nevada, Missouri at the time as a high school student, about an hour and a half away, and they filled Arrowhead Stadium with firefighters, paramedics, police officers from across the country, across the world. And the media coverage at the time was just astronomical. It was absolutely insane. It'd be about what you would expect. And I just remember feeling drawn to that. And I think all of us innately have a desire to be a part of something bigger than ourselves. On some level, we want to be a part of something that's outside of ourselves. Some more than others, but I think all of us have that sense or that connection to want to be connected to something that's a little bit bigger than us. For some of it, it's simply our faith or our God, right? So for me, seeing that brotherhood, I was just instantly drawn to it. I'm like, this is what I want. This is where I'm going. Started out as a volunteer in my early 20s. I think I was 19, volunteering down there in Nevada. Went through the academy with them. At the time, working as a McDonald's manager. Just got married. We got married in what time? My wife, she and I married in 93. I think I was 20. She was 19, so really young. Shout out to her. She's the only reason I'm still alive today. And
that's so true. Yep.
Like we're 33 years in now, and it's been great.
That's awesome.
It's been hard. Like there were hard years. I don't want to sugarcoat that, but that's 33 years. That's part of it. So fire service wise, when you think about, when I go back to that, I spent about 3 years volunteering down there, moved up to the St. Louis metro region, which is kind of where I'm at now. Started volunteering for a department here, did that for a couple of years, and then got on with the department in 98 and have been a career firefighter since 1990. I never wanted to be more than a captain. That was always my end goal, my end all be all in the fire service. I had no desire to step off the truck, step off of shift work, and to lead outside of the crew of 3 or 4 guys. And had a back injury in 2019. Had an injury that could have been a career ender. It wasn't. It knocked me out for about 3 months. And in that 3 months is when really all of my trauma started really coming to the surface. Over the course of 20, 22, 23 years up until that point, we just accumulate a lot and we shut it down. Like we lock it down because we got to go to the next call. And in my generation, that's what you did. You didn't talk about it. Just suck it up, buttercup. We got to go to the next call. This is what you signed up for. This is what you get paid for. This is what we do. And so all of that just got locked into a box and put away. And then 2019, coming off that back injury, was really the first time I sat and did nothing. And in that silence is when all of that trauma really started coming to surface for me. So I sought some help. I started seeing therapy. I took a promotion. And the reason I took the promotion from engineer, acting captain at the time, all the way up to what was supposed to be battalion chief, it was a non-leadership role. It was an administrative role, but there was no fireground capacity. Like I'm not leading the crews. I don't have any disciplinary and no formal leadership role. It was a rank and a title that matched my role. And my role was community relations. PIO, show up on the scene, do the thing, and sell our story. And it started out as a battalion chief position. And I should have known. I knew the red flags for me hit day 3. I walked into the office, and I'm still sitting in the office, and this is, you at least for me, I analyzed, because we can tear each other apart. I analyzed. My first email was probably 3 sentences with the new signature. And it was something for a PFE, but it was for a public educational event.
Mm-hmm.
And it was going out district wide. And I sat there and analyzed and nitpicked that email for 3 hours before I finally sent it, because I knew that the guys were going to be like, "Oh, you misspelled the word the," or something, like whatever.
Oh, yeah.
There's got to be something. Finally, after 3 hours, I'm just like, man, screw it. Hit send, click, it's going to go. 2 minutes. 2 minutes later, my phone rang, and it was the boss. It was the board of directors, chairman of the board. He's pick up the phone and he goes, "Hey, man, we didn't tell you." I'm like, "Tell me what?" He goes, "Yeah, we promoted you. You're not a battalion chief. You're a deputy chief now." I'm like, to me, that was red flag number 1, but you're in it, right? Like, I didn't.
Yeah.
The reason I accepted that promotion for me was, it was kind of that career dissipation line. I got 8 years at the time. And I felt like this is going to be what extends my career, gets me to retirement age, gets me to that full vesting. I can kind of ride this out and still make a difference, still make an impact, and still be a part of something bigger than myself. Just not have to endure the physical pain. It's like, it's just an opportunity, right? Hindsight's 2020. It is what it is. I don't regret it. I'll say that.
Yeah.
I don't regret it. I have very little regret in life, because that opportunity, that 3.5 years in that position, opened a lot of opportunities. I wouldn't have wrote the book. I don't know that I'd be coaching. I wouldn't have met the people that I met, that have connected me with the people that have connected me with to have today.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have done the internal hard work through the NLP, the neuroscience, all the stuff, all those things, working on myself so that I can become a coach. So it's a blessing. I don't even look at it as a curse. It was a hard 3.5 years. And eventually got to a point where I'm like, this is no longer sustainable under this current leadership. And I'll say this for our current leadership now, great leadership. There is a part of me that wishes I could have held out for 8 more months. If I could have held out for 8 more months,
Sure.
The guys in that office now are doing a phenomenal job. Very connected to the guys on the truck. Very connected with the mission and the cause. Very service focused. Very people focused. Very employee focused, and just really hitting all the right notes. And so, that's, if I had one regret, that'd be it. But at the end of the day, man, I love what I do. Driving a truck, going back to driving a truck, man, it's a great job. I still get to go in and play. We have, I think every department has those engineers that take the engineer position because it's the easy job, and they're going to sit with the truck. And in fact, several times my captain is, we'll pull up on a scene, whether it's a medical call or an alarm sounding or something that, that the 2 or 3 guys on the crew can handle. And he'll look at me and be like, "Hey, Jay, you can stay here. We're good." And I'm like, "Nah, man, I can't. This is not who I am. Like, I'm going to come in. I'm going to do something. Even if all I do is stand at the door and toss you a med bag, or if I don't even do that, like, I'm there."
Oh, yeah.
That's just who I am. I got to keep moving. So.
Oh, I love it. Now, stepping back, from the deputy chief to your current role, was there a lot of, pushback from members of the department? I shouldn't say pushback, but what was the temperature, like, guys on the floor when it's like, "Oh my gosh, now he's an engineer," or whatever the case is. Was there a lot of conversation that came from that move to the engineer's position?
I'm sure there was. So the position I took was one that was created for me.
Okay.
So it wasn't a position that was previously held. My duties were split up amongst a couple different people.
Yeah.
And so the position was created specifically for me, not because of the back injury, but because I had proved myself on our social media pages over the course of a year or two. Like, hey, this guy can write, this guy can tell a story. He's pretty good with the camera. Let's make him the PIO. So
Yeah, sure. Why not? Right?
yeah, right. Why not? Right. So so knowing that the position was created for me, that's all I, like I said, all I ever wanted was to be a captain. So I was like, hey man, I can do this role as a captain on the truck. Like
Yeah.
there's no reason I can't do this and step out. So the way our department works, most departments in our communities in our general vicinity work, if you're battalion chief and down working shift work, then you're in the shop. So you're part of the local, the union. So everything above that, you can still pay into the you're a part of the union, but you're not a part of the shop. So you lose your bargaining rights and that
Gotcha.
bargaining protection under the bargaining agreement, the contract.
Mm.
So coming back to the truck, I always told them, I said, something's going to happen. I don't know what it was. Maybe it's looking back, I can think I probably self-sabotaged it. I'll own my portion of the toughness of that 3.5 years. There were times I made that harder on myself than I needed to, and times I made it harder on my leaders and the rest of the team than it probably should have been. So 100% I'm going to own that. Now, coming back to the truck was something I asked for, because when I took the promotion, I only wanted two things. One was leave me a captain on the truck. When that was taken off the table, then it was, well, the conversation was, well, I have 8 years before I can retire. Coming outside of the bargaining unit, now I'm truly an at-will employee. I can be terminated on the spot for whatever. So when you're done with me, when I'm done with me, like at some point in time, there's going to come a point in time when I turn 50, 55 years old that I can no longer keep up with the technology of social media and the current trends and speak to our target audience, our voter base of that 18 to 25 year old, like, right? Like our target customer online is the 20 to 30 something, 18 to 30 something year olds. And there's going to come a time where I don't have the ability to think like them, talk like them, and all those things. So either you're going to be done with me in this position, or I'm going to be done with the position because it's too much for whatever. When that time comes, I just allow me to go back to the truck in whatever position is open. I don't care if it's riding back step as a jumper. Like just let me finish out my 30 years, make it to my 55th birthday, and I want to leave here happy and content, and still loving the people and loving the job. So I actually pulled that trigger and asked for that demotion about a year before I was granted it, and was shut down. It was like, yeah, no, you're in it. This is it. This is what it's going to be. Asked for it again in 2023 after I filed the mental health claim, and said, I'm done. I can't. This is no longer sustainable for me, for my family. Just let me go back to the truck and ride my days out as a backstepper. So the conversations, back to your question, the conversations, I'm not privy to all those conversations between shop leadership, between the board, the chief at the time. I don't really know what those conversations entailed and what the heat level was. How volatile those were or not, I don't know. I do know that there was some pushback. I know some guys were resistant to it. I know some guys stood up for it and said, hey, if you don't allow him to come back to the truck and you fire him or make him stay there, what motivation are you going to have? Nobody's ever going to want to promote into the office again.
That's such a good point.
So why would we not take care of our people? We lifted him into this position. We created a position for him. So if we're not going to support him when it's no longer working, then why would anybody else step into that office?
Oh, man.
So to the guys that spoke up, like, kudos. I appreciate it. Right. Like, cause that's truly why I'm here today. So
that's great. So did they ever offer a reason why the initial denial for the, voluntary demotion?
Let me think back. No, not really. From my understanding, it was just to pretty much suck it up. Like, this is what it is. We're going to make this work.
Yeah. And clearly we're not gonna, cause it's unfortunate. And it, I could see if they were like, hey, we can't because we filled the position that you were in before, or, if there's but that they would have told that to you, right? And I would trust that you could have seen, okay, that I get it. Like when you move up, sometimes, the brick that you were at, gets backfilled with somebody else, and now you just can't take that seat back. So I get it, but to not offer that and just, to kind of have that mentality is just, it's shit. It really is.
Yeah. It was a deflate for sure.
And it's, I mean, it could have been even more detrimental than what it was, and not downplaying the struggle that you had to go through by any means. But I mean, there are legitimate reasons why suicide is one of the leading causes of death for active duty firefighters, and stuff like this only contributes to that, because when you do, hey man, I'm not, this is not going to work out, when you finally seek help and they're like, hey, nope, sorry, it is what it is. So you kind of really hit it already, but the whole feeling of an organization sort of letting you down, not having your back, betrayal, we can use that one. What we already kind of saw some of it, but what did that kind of really in what did that look like for you? So, and I guess what I'm looking at, I'm not trying to hash out, the absolute lowest of lows, but for the listeners and viewers that may sort of be teetering on that line of, am I feeling just overwhelmed, or is this legitimately, my organization leadership is letting me down? A leadership failure is probably a great way to put it. What did that, kind of look like for you? That might help some of the listeners and viewers sort of delineate whether they're just having a bad day or they're really in a rut that they're not going to be able to easily get out.
And I don't know if I have a real good answer for that. Like, just talking through my scenario, when I filed the mental health claim and said, hey, I've been seeking, we'll back up to 2019. I started seeing my therapist in 2019. In 2020, we did a ballot initiative for a pension tax, to add to our pension tax, to bump our retirement package up a little bit, try to encourage some of the older guys to step out, bring in some younger guys. And that ballot initiative is one that I took a front seat role on as the community relations guy, PIO. We put together 4 videos, professionally made, hired a company, put together 4 videos. And one of them was sharing my PTSD journey, tied back to the event in 2019 where I injured my back. Like, we went back to the scene, we shot footage from it. I shared we shared the helmet cam video. It was pretty impactful video. Kevin, I shared it with Kevin when we did the Silent War Within, when I came on that podcast.
Sure.
We shared that promo. Because it was an emotional video, right? And it was me crying on camera. We got my wife crying on the camera. So both of us, out of the 4 videos that we put out for that successful ballot initiative, that video itself was the highest viewed and clicked on video in the history of our department. Over 500,000 views. So the betrayal for me really came in when I filed the claim in 2023 and said, hey, this is tied to work. I know it is now. And I want to document it. I was very clear that I'm healthy. I'm good. I'm still in therapy. I'm still capable of working. I'm not asking to be put off. I want to continue working. I'm just checking the boxes to make sure that I'm taken care of. And the betrayal started when I heard, oh, well, we can't have a PIO that's got PTSD. Like, that's not a good for the district. Like, well, it was a good look for the district when you took my story and put it out there on camera for half a minute. Now all of a sudden it's not, because the system is not designed to take care of us. It's just not. And the sooner we can realize that as the individual, the better off we're going to be, healthy wise, mentally wise, because the system is set up by lawyers by insurance companies and the people with the money to protect the system, to protect the agency, and to protect that liability, to protect that. It ain't here to protect us. That's just the end of this. Say what you will. That's not exclusive to my agency. I know that to be the case in other departments across this. That's just the system. The healthcare system is the same way. You get me on a soapbox for the healthcare system. It's the same way. It's not set up to take care of the consumer,
Right.
or to truly advocate for the consumer. And so for me, the process of that claim, I put in for that claim in September of 23. I was put on admin leave. Everything was stripped away from me. Was told to stay out of the firehouses, pretty much cut off from everything other than who I could reach out to. Email access was cut off. Whatever phone, I had 2 phones. I had my phone and a district phone. So they took all that. And it's on some level, I understand that. Like, that's part of the system, right? Like, you're claiming you have a mental health injury. Let's make sure that you're taken care of is how they sold it. But let's check the boxes, right? Well, that process took, we'd probably still be in it. 3 months into that process for me, I landed in a little bit of a predicament because we had changed work comp carriers in the process. So my injury, I was tying it back to a 2019 injury under one work comp company, and now we're under a current a different work comp carrier, and neither one of them wanted to pick up that claim.
Of course not, because it costs them money.
Exactly. So I'm on admin leave for 3 months while they're doing what they're doing. And literally at 3 months, at towards the end of the year, I just emailed the fire chief and the board, and I'm like, "Hey, talking with the lawyers and the legal team, like this is going to go for another 6 to 8 months before they decide. It's going to go to court. The judge is going to have to rule which one of these 2 picks this up. Are you really comfortable paying me the amount of money you're paying me to sit at home and do absolutely nothing?" Because I was on paid admin leave. In retrospect, I probably should have done it, but honestly, mentally, I wasn't in a place where I could do it. I was just like, man, I gotta move. Like, this is, it hurt more to be cut off and isolated and out of contact. That was the worst thing. That's the worst thing we can do for our people. When our people tell us that they need help and that they're struggling, the absolute worst thing a leader can do is say, "Go sit at home for 3 months. You're on your own. Well, don't call us. We'll call you."
Yeah.
Like, what the? I'll never understand that. I had now some of the brotherhood within the shop reached out to me. I had 2-3 guys that I stayed in good contact with on a very regular basis. By and large, the rest of the district, the rest of our employees, they didn't know it. They didn't know what was going on. They just saw on the payroll, on the schedule that Jason's on admin leave, and they're like, rumor mill, like, "Oh, what's going on with him?" So I can only imagine.
I was going to say,
So just whatever.
Oh, dude, cause I bet some probably were thinking you were doing illegals, because I can be the same way. If I see somebody on admin leave, I'm like, oh, what did they do to get themselves in trouble? Not in you were in trouble, but you were in a different kind of trouble. You were not in illegal trouble. That's crazy.
So when I at the end of 23, 3 months sitting on admin leave doing nothing, I'm like, "Hey, are you really comfortable paying me to absolutely do nothing? This is how long this is going to take, blah, 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 blah."
Yeah.
Can I just go see my doctor and get cleared by my doctor? Because that was the hiccup. I couldn't come back to work till I got cleared by a doctor. And neither one of the work comp companies wanted to pick that up and say, "Yeah, go send me to it." I said, you just send me to a doctor, and the actual agency just pays for the bill. I'll go to my own doctor. And it took them about 2 weeks to come back with an answer. And they're like, "Yeah, why don't you just go to your doctor and get released?" That was on a Monday that I got that email. I made the appointment and I dropped by the office on Tuesday at noon. I'm like, "Here's the doctor's release."
Jeez.
And so by then it's kind of a predicament, because although I had asked to go back to the truck, they just did, "Hey, you're coming back, but you're not." There was no conversation. previously I had expressed interest in coming back to the truck. So they're like, hey, your position's done away with now. You're going back to the truck as an engineer. I'm like, awesome.
Hey,
Awesome.
so I mean,
No better outcome could have happened.
And they do say everything does happen for a reason. And I think this show, I mean, the pain and suffering you had to go through doesn't seem like a very good reason. And I would fight that as you what do you call it, like the cost of doing business, so to speak. But that's you hit on, and I am not a big fan of employer-based EAPs because, like you said, they are designed, and I think it's even further compounded on the fire service and emergency service side. I don't want to say just fire service, but even police and EMS side, because we handle different levels of need and take on bigger chunks of trauma. I'm not trying to discredit what our tax collectors or the HR department would collect if they need to, but they're not designed for our needs, and it does need a complete overhaul. And I don't even know where to begin with what or how to do that, other than it. For me, in the state of New Hampshire, there's one company that basically owns the monopoly on all health, all things health related. What our EAPs are, and it's everybody typically buys into it, whether you're a state employee, your teachers union, the local unions, even non-union communities are all underneath this umbrella because they have just such high buying power. And typically it's all the same EAP. And there's got to come a time and a place, especially when I look at the board of the people who sit on this board. I went down a rabbit hole myself of I was on weight loss injection stuff after my old man passed in 2023. I happen to have a department physical, and we go every other year. And I felt that it was, every year every time I went, they're like, "Hey, your liver enzymes are high." And me being younger, I'm like, "Do I pass? Can I still be a fireman?" And they're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Okay." They're like, "Yeah, just follow up with your PCP." I didn't have a PCP. I was like, "Yep, no problem. I'll take care of it. Just sign this up so I can go back to work." Then, of course, Dad dies, and thankfully, it was the same year that I had to have my biannual physical, and it was months after his passing. So they're like, "Your liver enzymes are high," and I'm like, it's probably time. It's about time I probably go get this looked at. And I go through all the testing, and like, "Oh, you need to lose some weight. So I was like, well, let's go down the weight loss, weight management, clinic or whatever." They put me on some weight loss. It was tirzepatide that I was on for a while. It worked really well. And then we get a thing in the mail. "Oh, we're going to be discontinuing effective this month because it's expensive." And don't get me wrong, I get it from a businessman standpoint. It is. When my copay is $20 and it's $700 out of pocket fee, yet the insurance company's definitely getting a pretty good hosing on that. But they're like, "Oh, well, we'll do but gastric bypass is an option." So I was like, I don't know. And then finally I did it, and I did all, when I was in that phase of, are you kidding me? Like, I'm here to help people. Now I'm finally trying to get the help to get through this hurdle of trying to lose weight and get to a manageable weight where it's healthy and blah, blah, blah. So I started looking, I reached out to their office, and I'm like, who do I talk to about this? Just to I know I'm fighting City Hall and I'm not going to win, but even if one voice just resonates and they can see, hey, this is somebody he's a father of two and he wants to live and he's trying to do his best and he's a firefighter, he helps other people, we should be able to try to help him. So I look at the board, and most of the executive board of directors, they're your local, there's a couple of firefighters, some police officers, fire chiefs, it's a large board. And I'm like, these are our peers. Like, how do you not see this? So, I'm like, I was all gung ho. And after a while I lost the steam because I'm like, this is not a battle I'm going to win. I'm going to do further damage to myself than I am any bit of progress. So of course I went through the surgery, and I have to laugh because in their infinite wisdom, they're like, "Oh, we'll pay for the surgery." So I ran the math, and the cost of my operation plus a small stint I just had with my kidney stones, I'm going to have to live until at least, I think, 77, almost 80 years old in order for them to actually make up the difference in what it would have cost if they just kept giving me the monthly dose. So who's really winning here? And if I knock off before that, they never got their money's worth out of me. So I mean, not that I want to. It's definitely, but it's just, and and it goes to the EAPs. Like these things aren't designed. So when you have members of your executive board of directors, how do they? It blows my mind. It's like there needs to be a different level of an EAP for first responders and people who are chronically, exposed to traumatic things. And I talked to a lot of people about this, and a lot of people, they give me the, I had a fatal car accident today, and this, and it becomes transactional for me, which I can appreciate, but I also understand that transactional or not, it still takes a bit of your soul with it, regardless. Seeing another human's, life lost, it always takes a toll. So yeah, there's a lot. We could go down a giant rabbit hole about how ineffective I feel that EAPs are, but
yeah, I'm with you on that. I think the only way that I know to solve that EAP problem is to be proactive from the top down and the bottom up.
Yep.
Going out and finding the trauma-informed clinicians in our community and building partnerships with them and relationships with them and saying, hey, this is what we're looking for. Can you provide this on a moment's notice?
Right.
Can you, and we'll keep it confidential. I'll give you an example of how well that can work. In 2020, as the deputy chief for doing the community relations stuff, we had a fire in our community where 2 people got burned pretty bad. It was, and several residents participated in trying to rescue those trapped people before we got there. In fact, I think those residents that were burned were already rescued by passersby. In talking with those individuals that participated, the regular citizens, neighbors who participated in that save, you could tell they were hurting. And so by what they'd seen, I mean, we're talking skin sloughing off. Like they were burned pretty bad, right? So it was pretty traumatic for us. Now you throw in a neighbor that didn't sign up for that, right? So so we created, on my idea, we launched a program within our community outreach program to provide residents who witnessed or partook in a traumatic event, to provide them 4 sessions of counseling. We went out and sought 2 trauma-informed, trauma-trained clinicians within our community. One of them was my therapist, and said, "Hey, I don't want to know anything other than like I'll take their name and say, hey, this person might reach out to you, and I give them their business card and say, hey, this service is available to you if you need it. If you don't, that's fine too. Just give him this card." He'll know what to do from there. Your first 4 visits are on us from a community outreach perspective, and anything past that is between you and him, or you and that counselor. And I can look back over our time. We just actually used it last year. Back when
That's awesome.
back on the truck, we ran a fatality accident, and I walked up to the girl who hit the guy. It wasn't her fault, but she was the one.
Yeah.
She's the one that was in the vehicle that struck the guy that died. And I'm like, hey, and I know she called. So there's there's ways to take care of our own in that similar fashion.
Yeah.
We just got to get creative, and we got to open the floodgates to the creativity in those conversations amongst our, not just from the top down, but from the bottom up, right? It has to be a participation. Like, what would it take? How would this work for you guys? Would you use this? What's going to work? What's not going to work?
I love that idea. We could, man, that's an amazing idea, because it really does. We had a fatal here in town, kind of the same thing where they weren't even involved in the accident themselves. They were passerbys, and they were exposed to seeing a dead body laying in the roadway. And that again, I mean, we as first responders aren't, we're blind to a lot of that now, but we aren't like that when we first get into the fire service. And I think we forget that the, citizens who are just, bankers or accountants or the mailman, they're not They're not used to seeing that. And, granted, yeah, TV nowadays can do a pretty decent job at desensitizing us, but
Not
when
that
you
well.
see it, when you see it in person, so to have that, long story, we had that, couple of people, and I told them, I said, listen, we're likely going to be doing a debrief on this because we are very proactive with doing debriefs for traumatic calls in town. And I told them, I said, like, if you guys get home and this is really kind of wearing on you, reach out to us at the firehouse, and I can keep you in contact with when that critical incident stress debriefing is happening, and try to either bring you in or find you a resource that can help you get through that, because it's just, we don't need people carrying that trauma if they literally didn't sign up for that. So get them the help that they need. This, oh man, I love this. This is great. So I want to switch gears slightly and talk about Five Arrows Forge. So kind of walk into, I think I may know what the answer as to why behind you started it is, but kind of what it is and everything that has to do with that aspect of your very, 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 very busy life.
Yeah. So I'll preface this with this comment. Like, a lot of the first half of this show is going to give the impression that I'm disparaging of my current employer, and I am not. I want to make very clear that I touched on it a minute ago. Like, my time in that role, I don't regret it. This job's been good to me. This job's been a blessing. I don't regret anything. I am who I am today because of the adversity that I've been faced through all of my life. And we all are, right? Like, we all are who we are today because of the experiences that we face. And I wouldn't be as successful as I am through the Five Arrows Forge brand, or soon to be. I got a business partner. We're starting up a second business called Continuum Leadership Solutions. So Five Arrows Forge. You go back to a note from Dad in 2011. I had a couple close calls where I felt like I probably should have been seriously hurt on these calls, if not a couple of close calls. And at the time, my boys were 2 and 4. And I remember thinking, if I were to die on my job at this young age for these boys, I want them to know who I am through my own words, not through somebody else's words. I don't want them to have to rely upon my coworkers, my family telling them, "Oh, your dad was this," or "Your dad did that," or like, I want them to know who I was. So I started the blog, a note from dad.com, just literally just a free WordPress account. Like, I've always enjoyed writing. So much so that when I first started in the as a career firefighter in '98, I journaled. I logged every call we ran. Like, I literally, if we ran on alarm sounding, boom, we did this, I saw this, I got all of it. Like, right, it would have, if I would have kept it up, it would have made a amazing diary to go back and look at all the shit that I've seen and done.
Yeah.
Where I stopped that was in '99 or maybe early 2000 with the first pediatric death. It was a traumatic death. Kid got run over by a school bus. Split him wide open, and I just was unprepared for it. I remember sitting back down at the firehouse, and I pulled that journal out, and I wrote the date, responded to a child run over by a school bus, and I stopped. I'm like, how the fuck do I write this? Like, I'm.
Yeah.
And I closed the book, and I walked away, and I never picked it up again. And I regret that. Like, that is a regret. I wish I would have done. I had a better way to process that. But to that point, like, you talk about trauma in our day, man, when that particular call, our first critical incident, my first critical incident stress debrief was everybody sitting around the round table, dispatchers, police, fire, EMS, hospital staff, 20 of us sitting in a room. Everybody's crying, sharing their emotions, doing the thing, therapists and the counselors, and then everybody's there, and we're just kind of a scripted process. Everybody's going around the room. And just by the way we were seated, my crew of 4, it came to my captain first, and my captain's words were, "We're good." I'm like, not I'm good. We're good.
Yeah.
Very clearly, we're good. And then that was it. Those were his only 2 words. That was his contribution to that debriefing. Went to my engineer was next, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I was just driving the truck. I wasn't doing much, blah, blah, blah. I didn't really see much. I'm pretty good." and then it comes to me. And I've already solidified, like, hey, man, I got to live with these boys. I'm new. I'm fresh in the job. Like, I guess this is
Sure.
what we do. We're just going to lock this down.
Mm.
And so that was the first one I really locked down. So all those years when I was writing those notes to the boys, I was just general notes. I would write Post-it notes, put them in their lunchbox,
That's awesome.
write notes on the website to them. I chronicled some, run some running journeys and just whatever struck me, I'd write it. And then in 2019, when my PTS came to a head, I stopped writing because I found myself writing. I mean, it was turning dark. I've got a book's worth of stuff that I haven't shown anybody yet. That I'll put it out there eventually, but it's just not there. I haven't had the time. So I stopped writing. And then in 23-ish, 22, a couple years later, whatever that was, whenever I started social media, would have been 22. I had the breakthrough, seeing therapy, and like all of it just kind of was boom. I'm good. Like all of it cleared up all the way back into childhood. I'm like, boom, 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 boom. Oh man, I'm good. So all that creativity was coming back. I started writing again, and what I found was now my boys were teenagers, so the best way to truly connect with them was to just do some social media. Like, hey man, I'm gonna go put a YouTube out or a Facebook reel or whatever. Although Facebook, it took me a hot minute to realize Facebook's for old people now. So
that one hurts. That one hurts.
Right? I know. I jumped on the TikTok, and that's where it really took off. Was on the TikTok. TikTok is up to like 25 some odd thousand followers now. I think platform wide, probably close to 40,000 followers. As that following grew, I'm just like, I'm connecting with people from all across the country that are messaging. Fly. They're leaving comments, or they're sending me DMs going, hey man, like that video really resonated. I don't have a dad. My dad did this. And these are adults that are sharing this, not necessarily just kids. Like, I've got this strained relationship with my dad. So you're kind of like my internet dad now. This is great, blah, 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 blah. I really started to see the pain across our country, across the world, but specifically a lot of within across our nation. And I've always had a passion for fatherhood and the role men play in their relationships with their kids. And so that kind of always was a good fit for me. And then when we wrote the book was kind of the next natural progression for that whole thing. We wrote the book, Notes from Dad. I got 34 good buddies together. Each of them wrote a chapter, and we became best-selling authors in a couple of days. It was amazing. That process, that opened up some additional opportunities. And that's when I realized, hey, I've got something here that can go beyond the realm of just supporting fatherhood and supporting dads. Like I want to be more involved in battling male loneliness, dealing with mental health in the first responder community, all those things. So how do I do that? And so I kind of shifted a Note from Dad over to more of a ministry side of what I do. It's just kind of a side project. It's not making me any money. I'm not that big of an influencer that I'm monetized on. I think I might make 73 cents this month on Facebook or something. I don't know. Mostly because I haven't figured out how to do it. Like I just
sure,
whatever. But so with 5 Arrows Forged, when I decided to launch that, that was where I decided, hey, this is where I'm gonna coach men. I'm gonna coach fathers. I'm gonna help them through some of the same struggles I had. How can I use my struggle, my adversity, not just in my fire service career, but throughout my life? How can I rectify some of the mistakes I made and help other men prevent them prevent some of the same mistakes? I still vividly remember coming home one day when my boys were young, and I live in a split level. So I come in and I have to go up or down. So I stopped in the foyer, and I just sitting there waiting, and I'm hanging out, and I'm listening to the kids playing. They're having fun. They're toddlers doing what toddlers do, giggling, laughing, having fun. And I'm just like, I'm soaking it all in. I'm like, this is cool, man. This is just really cool. And I sat there I just stood there in the foyer for 30 seconds. About 30 seconds in, they realized Dad was home. and the atmosphere shifted. It's tense. You could feel the anxiety. They're going, shh, dad's home, dad's home. No longer was it, hey, dad's home, dad. It was,
yeah.
hey, dad's home. Shh, okay. And you could just sense that anxiety, that trepidation,
Yeah.
and fear almost as they wondered which version of daddy was coming home. I do not ever want to see another man face that, because that sucked. That was the gut punch for me. It was like, hey man, something's got to shift. Something needs to change.
Yeah.
Because I was putting my life into the job, and I think we all love the job, some more than others, some others, but I think you get into this job because you love it.
Sure.
I think what I want to help people remember, or help people know, is, man, you can love the job. You just got to know the job doesn't love you.
Ooh,
some of us live for the job. I lived for the job for a long time. We need to remember that the job lives on without us, right? The agency that we work for, the job that we do, it's a machine, and the machine will continue to roll.
Yeah.
The minute we walk out the door. I still remember in the office, I had one of the older guys came in to retire, put his paperwork in, and we're sitting in the chief's office singing Kumbaya, hands holding, telling all the old stories. Everybody's crying like he had a great career. What are you going to miss? Blah, blah, blah. All those things. 45 minutes, all about him. I walked him out the door. I turned around and went back to the chief's office. It wasn't 45 seconds later. Hey, who's next? Who are we bringing up? That's how long it took for the wheels of the bus to keep going. Right. Yep. We get wrapped up in loving the job and living for the job. And we just forget that the job it's not there to love us back. It's just not, some of the people will love us, but the job doesn't love us like we love it. And it's going to continue to move on without us. So launching 5 Arrows Forge and what I'm doing through that, and what I'm doing through this new business with my other business partner, it's really just an opportunity to, help others learn from my mistakes. And I don't know, sometimes you just want to grab some of these young kids and slap them upside the face and say, man, wake up. Like, this is not what you think it's going to be. Like, right?
Yes.
Like, it's great. Right. I'm glad you're here. Like, this is great. But I still remember when I started out, like the old guys would look at you and go, hey man, it goes fast. Especially as a parent. I can't tell you when we started having kids, guys would come up and be like, oh man, enjoy these moments because it goes so fast. And you're like, yeah, whatever, old man. What do you know?
Exactly.
I'm just trying to get my kid out of diapers, or I'm just trying to get to the next call. Like, what do you know, man? You don't know nothing.
Right. Yeah.
And then you are the old man in the room. And now I'm finding myself looking at these kids going, oh man. Like, you just got to, and they're looking at me, and I see the look. They're looking at me going, yeah, what do you know, old man?
It is it.
You just want to grab them by the face and be like, dude. It's like, what is that Adam Sandler movie where he grabs the chubby?
Yes.
Go.
Yeah. There's so much to that. I think, part of the problem I think with a lot of people is they do try to make this fire service their identity. And I don't know how easier to say it for the viewers and listeners, but you have to, even if it is still fire service based stuff, you have to have something outside of the four walls of responding on that rig and helping other people in the firefighting capacity. Because like Jason just hit, right? Somebody walks out, you have a long, and it sucks watching people, good guys, walk out the door. It is sad. It's emotional. But then it's even worse when you turn around and it's like, all right, so who's next? Or even if that's not the exact dialogue that happens, you realize that business just has to pick up. It was there before us, and it will be there after us.
Be there when
we are only, we're renting the space in between those two time slots, and we have to realize and try to figure out what our identity is outside of that. So,
I'll say for me,
true.
my time in the office, it actually fractured some good relationships with guys on the trucks. Like, those kind of drifted apart. Some by natural, like, you're no longer proximate to them. But I'll say this for my time in that role, I have more off the job friends that are true 3 a.m. phone calls than
Mm,
I have on the job now. Like, right. So,
yeah.
I'm blessed in that regard. And I would echo what you say. Like, I don't care where you find those people. For me, I found most of them through F3. Um,
Yep.
F3nation.com. We'll do a selfless plug for that. F3nation.com. Free men's workout group. It's truly what it is a men's leadership development wrapped around a free workout group. That's
I
really
like
what it
it.
is. That's really what
Yeah.
it is. And it's been
I'll make sure
phenomenal.
we throw it in the notes for sure. Oh man, that's great. So what I will say, the very first time that I ever really, well, when we recorded for A Silent War Within was the first time that I had more interaction. But I've seen a notes from Dad came up, every so often on my feed, and I would be lying, and it's this not trying to inflate anything, but there have been a few times and a few instances where I have actually sent my oldest is my son. He is 17, and I'll every so often something will pop up and I'd send it to him because I'm like, dude, because what you're onto is huge. Because and it's funny because anytime that you lose somebody in your life, it really brings you back down to realize just how fragile it is and how like the real mortality of life. And I for a long time have actually contemplated on not necessarily doing the daily notes, but just writing a little letter of, hey kiddo, I'm really proud of you. You know, the proverbial, if you're reading this, I must have not made it type, whatever the case is.
Yeah.
And the only thing that's ever really stopped me from that is the fear of, if they happen to be rummaging through the house and they come across these letters, they're like, wait, what is this? Dad, were you thinking of like harming yourself? Like, cause that's just how the kids are. I have Gavin, who's 17, and Aubrey she's 12, and they're both amazing kids. I split time with my ex, but they're both very mature young adults who love life just as equally as I love them, and that's I couldn't ask for anything better. So, what you're doing with the notes is huge, right?
I
And it
appreciate that.
speaks, and there are followers of the shows and everything who we cordially refer to some of us as card holding members of the Dead Dad Club, the double DC, if you will. And we all go down that path, and sometimes to be able to reminisce and have those moments, or realize hey, maybe we need to do that ourselves. And for me, I found that it prompts me to be like, you know what, you haven't reached out to the kids today. Why don't you see how their day was? I mean, it's much easier with Aubrey because she has her phone. She still is young enough, and Gavin he's a 17-year-old going on 45. So I could text him and be like, hey, do you want X and XYZ from the grocery store? I'm there now. I will have shopped 15 times over before he finally actually responds back to the text. But it still is the reminder of, hey, did you just send a little love note today? Just a little, hey man, I'm really proud of you, or whatever the case is, or it's just things like that. So, what you're doing, my man, is really, really good stuff. And if people have not started following, please do. So, well, I'll give you a chance at, after I'm going to give you the last question. Really, actually, one of the only questions I've asked the whole time. It's been great. There really haven't been a whole lot of questions I needed to ask. It's great.
I'm a talker.
Dude, I love it. No, that's one of the best parts about having an amazing. It makes you an amazing guest. So we always ask here in the Passionate Leader our proverbial question. You've heard it, I'm hoping, because you said you listened to a few shows. So the last question we always ask everybody: somebody new in the fire service, or even a seasoned member, but they want to start their journey down the leadership path, walks into your office, pulls you out, up at the tailboard, and is like, "Hey, what is your one piece of raw, unfiltered, and unadulterated advice to somebody who's walking that path as they start their leadership journey in the fire service?"
Yeah. Well, when we touched on the identity thing, I would definitely echo that. That the job is not who you are. You got to find identity out of that. Other than that, man, remember that first impressions are forever. First impressions never go away. People can change, but first impressions are forever. So the day you walk into the firehouse is the first day of your interview for promotion. You ever want to move up in that organization or move up in the fire service in general, your interview starts the day you walk in the door. And that carries because our reputations carry from agency to agency. So don't think that you can just burn the bridge down on agency one and move on to the next one, because that reputation is going to follow you. Right. So, and other than that, man, it's to remember that I'm a shining example, I guess. I don't know. It's weird to say that, but it's true. You can lead. It's a good reminder for me. You can lead from any seat. You can lead from the captain's seat, the BC's buggy, the fire chief's seat, or the back seat. Somebody stepping in and coming in as a backstepper. I have several senior men in my department that are still backsteppers who I consider leaders. You don't need a rank and a title to lead people. You just need to lead. You have the opportunity to lead right where you're at. The process of leading implies that somebody's following. If somebody's following you, you're not a leader. You're just a boss. You're just a boss who's managing people. People that follow are following leaders, right? They're choosing that. And the difference there is the boss, as you talked about it a minute ago, the boss is transactional, right? The leader is relational. So if you ever want to lead people, get to know people. Get to know and connect with them and have conversations. Sit down and do a podcast. Call somebody up. Take them out to lunch. Go, whatever. And just get to know people and meet them where they're at. Live to serve the people that are in your circle of influence, whether they're underneath you in rank or position or title or not. Just live to serve people, and people will flock to that leadership. And that's going to be what, what takes you wherever you want to go. I still remember, I say that and I laugh now because I remember years ago, I'm an acting captain on the truck. We caught a house fire at 10 o'clock in the morning on day 2 of a 4896. We'd been up all night the night before. We're tired. We're exhausted. We barely got any breakfast on day 2. Had some training. We catch this fire in the middle of training. And now it's 10:30. My guys are hungry. They're tired. They're cranky. And they need food. Well, our cookie truck shows up. It's our volunteer team that comes in with the snacks, right?
Yep.
Some of us have the Red Cross. We had our own internal volunteer group. And I'm like, man, what I really need is a sandwich. And my driver looked over at me and he's like, dude, I don't think a cookie's going to do it for me. And so I go, dude, I'm going to order some Jimmy John's. What do you want? He goes, what? I go, I'm calling right now. I'm ordering Jimmy John's. What do you want? And I ordered Jimmy John's for like my crew and a couple other guys. And the assistant chief at the time, he wrote me up for it. Because
really?
I stepped outside of the bounds of command, and it didn't go anywhere because he actually ended up withdrawing it because I it's like, hey man, I'm taking care of my people. Like that's scale, but it's so big. Right. And I'm not saying that to brag on myself. I'm saying that to give people an example that leadership, selfless leadership, can look like anything. It just looks like putting your people first. Whatever you got to do to put people first. I guarantee you those guys on that crew, they bought into that. Right. Like, about earning some brownie points. Like I'll just buy you, it's lunch. It's what, $10 a piece? What am I out? $30? I don't know. You can Venmo when we get back. I don't even care. I just know you're hungry and we got to eat. Right. So to me, that's the story, right? That's the lesson is, just take care of your people, and don't forget who you are outside of this job. When you're old and dying, who's going to be in the bed beside you? When you're old and dying, who's going to be in the bed beside you? Who's going to be standing by your deathbed? It's not going to be anybody on this job, unless you're married to somebody like you are. But
exactly.
So take care of just take care of your people.
I love it, man. Jason, brother, thank you so much for your time. And for the listeners. Before we do let you go, I want you. This is your time. Shameless plug everything where guys can get a hold of you. How they can, if they're in a tough spot and they think you might be able to help them through it. Everything that you have, this is your opportunity to do the plugs for everything, all your socials and everything like that.
Yeah. So on social, you can find me at either on all the major socials at A Note from Dad. On Facebook, Facebook and Instagram is where the Five Arrows Forge kind of lies. LinkedIn, YouTube, all of that is pretty much a note from Dad. I haven't really done a whole lot with the Five Arrows Forge on social yet. However, the best website to get a hold of me at is fivearrowsforge.com, spelled out. F-I-V-E. Think about that.
That's one of my harder numbers too, for being honest.
Yeah. Well, I told you I had to. That's why I spent so long trying to analyze that first email. I'm like, I'm going to misspell the word five. So yeah, fivearrowsforge.com. You can reach out to me there. My phone number, if you're in that place and you just need somebody to talk to, is 314-368-7027. You can shoot me a text, give me a call, pretty much any time of the night, and if I'm available, I'll pick it up and we'll talk it out. I'll say this: I'm going to plug this. What I'm building, what I'm most excited about right now, is through Five Arrows Forge. I'm building out a mental health operations class.
Okay.
We've been at the awareness level of mental health for 20 plus years. Like, we know it's a problem. We know the warning signs. We know the symptoms. We know the things to look for. We just don't have the tools to deal with them. Right. And so when we talk about, how do we improve our EAP services or our clinicians? That's the technician level of training, right? Mental health. The mental health operations level of training is, what practical real world tools can I use on the tailboard, at the kitchen table, on the shift after I get home? What can I do to step out of this moment or help my brother through this moment? That's what I'm building next. I hope to be kicking that out.
That's so cool.
In the next couple of weeks.
Smart move. I think that's a wonderful idea. And it as awful as it sounds, sometimes we have to bring it to the level of firefighters, and we do that with the awareness ops, tech level. That's smart move. I think it's a great idea, and I can't wait. I can't wait to see more about it. Actually, I can't wait. It's gonna be a fun journey to watch from the side.
I'll have to figure out how to get the invite for next year's conference. I'll come up there and present it up there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I will hopefully have the dates. I do need to reach out to the venue host in the next few weeks to a month. I want to try to actually get next year's dates booked before we have our conference, that we can start working on next year already. Yeah. We are working on other offshoots for it with the fire. It's the Fire and series. So we're looking at the Fire and Freedom, which would obviously happen in the summertime, and then Fire and Frost. I'm not sure if all three are going to be large scale. One of them will be the sort of like the staple, or the corner store, I guess you can call it, of what all three of them will be, like the biggest of the year, where the other ones may be just smaller. We go to your firehouse, but it's still technically a conference. However it works out. Again, man, big ideas. People, I have a great team behind us that really helps sort of keep the reins nice and tight, because if not, this horse will run all over the pasture. So
Same.
For sure. Yeah, no, I love it. Thanks again, my man. I really, really do appreciate it. It means the world to be able to get people on, to share experiences, to hear other stories. And, if what we have to say there in the shows even helps just one person, that's what it's about. For our viewers and our listeners, thank you so much for spending time with us today on The Passionate Leader. If something today hit home, don't just sit on it, share it. Follow The Passionate Leader across all platforms, and pull up a chair every Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on TikTok, where real leadership meets the kitchen table and real talk drives real change. If you want deeper conversations and first access to exclusive offers, join us on Discord and step into the inner circle. And more importantly, everybody, be the kind of leader that somebody else is praying for, the one that you needed when you first joined. And no matter what comes your way, remember this: lead with passion, serve with humility, and leave no room for bottom feeders. Until we see each other again, everybody, stay safe.